see the position of the leader, Dr. Kaifala Marah, membership, and as well as members of the government and civil society and other today in the organization. Well, we want really better collaboration so that we can understand exactly what's happening. So, I don't actually feel like I don't actually feel like
yeah, but I think we're not getting clear.
Alright, this time 2 minutes warning. So please settle down, find yourself in the seats, and then we kick off this very special press briefing.
Yeah, good afternoon again to everybody. Today, now another week again, inside the Ministry of Information and Civic Education can normally get them press briefing, and today is a special press briefing because the cross-party committee can talk about the body weight and setup for the review the election management that the country concerning one or two things that will happen in the election.
As we hear about the stats, I also want to advise, if you get your cell phone, please use the silence option or you turn it off. We'll let for get as few distractions as possible. So I will kindly ask that you turn your phone to the silence mode. Then we will. All right, it's exactly 2 p.m. by the 10, and I have to take this opportunity for welcoming all to this very, very special edition of the Ministry of Information and Civic Education in weekly press conference. What we will do specifically in partnership with the cross-party committee on electoral systems and management bodies review. This is a special edition we will do with the cross-party committee, and I want to start by paying respect to the leadership of the committee. The 3 co-chairs then were again the privilege for getting to be on this special panel. On the right, as you can see, we get Madam Seraphine Wakana, who is the resident coordinator for the United Nations Nassau. On the immediate left, we get Dr.Kaifala Marah, who is a co-chair and representative of the All People's Congress Party, APC. And then at the end of this table, we get Dr. Emmanuel Gaima, who is the co-chair and they represent the government of Salone. As we all know, a few months ago, the government of Salone and the All People's Congress Party, with international partners, they've been signed they've been getting an agreement after a mediated dialogue between the government and the APC. And one of the resolutions then, that His Excellency in consultation with the APC party will constitute a cross-party committee on electoral systems and management bodies review with a three-way leadership nominated by the government of Salone, the APC, and development partners. The body will examine the electoral system structures and processes of the 2023 multi-tier electoral cycle. The committee will also be informed by previous elections with a view for highlight and address the contentious issues of elections and results management, including collation, verification, authentication, and publishing of electoral data consistent with international best practice for enhanced credibility of all future elections in Salone, and that we will guarantee the election will be free, fair, and credible. 3A, we say the terms of reference for the development that the joint leadership of the committee within 30 days. We did a 30 days for say this committee don't work, and they don't come for car reports on the work they don't do, and for sure the product of that work for sign these terms of reference. I want to take this opportunity to particularly acknowledge the presence of our international development partners who have been moral guarantors in this process, and for your support to the government and the people of our country. I should also particularly acknowledge the presence of Dr. Samoa Wilson Kamara, who, as we know, is the leader and former presidential candidate of the All People's Congress Party, and my big brother namesake, Sherry Obama, who is also here. I also want to acknowledge the chair of the APC as well, His Excellency Ambassador Yansanen, members of cabinet who are here, members of the development community who are also here. I acknowledge as well members of the respective parties, but I also want to particularly pay tribute to the members of this cross-party committee. I want to acknowledge you all by your names. The APC reps on the committee, I've already mentioned Dr. Kaifala Marah, who is a co-chair. We have Dr. Almami P. Kuruma, who is a member, is here. Madam Palanet Kago, who is also here. Thank you. Mr. David Fona, my brother Boniface Kamara, Mr. Prince Tolly, and somebody I want to call Uncle Richard Conte. Thank you all for your service. Also, of course, on the government side, we have my teacher, Dr. Emmanuel Gaima, who is here, the Honorable Justice John Kamanda, the Honorable Dr. Fatima Hassan, Honorable Madam Helen Kuyembe, my big brother, Honorable Alpha Sise, Honorable Umar Napoleon Kuruma, Madam Aisatu Jabi Kaba as well. These are the members whose work we mean say we did today. As you now notice, I will switch somewhat between Creole and English, where this will be English in our new language we will discover. Now, without further ado, we do three major things here. One, we ask the co-chair them for talk, for provide an update, Sierra Leone update. We start with the United Nations representative. We are in the represent development partners on the committee. And then I will go in the way we should also listen for Dr. Marah and Dr. Gaima. After the statements then, we officially sign the agreed terms of reference. So I'll get the terms of reference, we'll present here, we'll get a signing ceremony. And then we seal and open up for questions from the members of the fourth estate and the people who do that. So without further ado, Madam Seraphine Wakana, Resident Coordinator of the United Nations, the floor is on yours.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Allow me to stand on existing protocol. Good afternoon, all. It's an honor for me to be part of this press conference today, which intends to provide an update on the progress made by the Post-Party Committee on Electoral Systems and Management Body Review, which is one of the provisions of the Agreement for National Unity that was signed on 18 October 2023 between the government and the opposition, All People's Congress, APC. I'm also pleased by the achievement made so far by the committee under the co-leadership of two very capable co-chairs, Dr. Emmanuel Gaima and Dr.Kaifala Marah. The committee started its work at the beginning of January and concluded this first phase with an agreed terms of reference that define its scope of work for the next 5 months. I would like particularly to commend the core leadership and committee members for their capacity to remain engaged amidst divergences and sometimes strong views on each other positions, and to be able to mitigate their differences and close the gaps between the different approaches and positions in a constructive manner. I believe that this is a result that should be praised by all of us, as it is an important step toward the promotion of unity and national cohesion after a very divisive post-electoral period. As stated by His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio in his national address of 24 October 2023, reviewing the electoral system is critical to strengthening Sierra Leone's democracy. And indeed, the intended examination of the electoral systems, structures, procedures, and processes, once coupled with impactful electoral reforms that reflects international best practices, will help to strengthen institutions and sustain democratic governance in Sierra Leone. It is important to remark that the process of electoral reform is nationally owned, and committee members will carry out the work of the committee. The United Nations and development partners remain committed to supporting the implementation of the agreed TORs of the committee, as well as the entire agreement for national unity. The United Nations is not only represented in the cross-party committee on electoral systems and management bodies review, but we are also part of the team of moral guarantors of the entire agreement for national unity. I would like to take this opportunity to call on both the ruling and opposition parties to support the full implementation of the TORs of the committee, as well as to jointly contribute to diffusing tensions in communities across the country, advocating for national cohesion and unity, and explicitly and consistently countering the divisive ethno-regional discourse and hate speech that has prevailed during the electoral period and beyond. This remains crucial for keeping the spirit of the agreement of national unity alive And thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Seraphine Wakana, for fumbling us. It's something that the UN commend the committee for the work they don't do, for the leadership they show, the pledge and continued support to this process, and he also asked that we all work together for bringing the tension down and for promoting peace and strengthening the democracy as a whole. We also thank you for your support. I now have the privilege to invite the other co-chair who represents the opposition party, the All People's Congress Party, a very distinguished Dr.Kaifala Marah. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Minister. Honorable Minister and the colleagues, leaders of political parties, in particular in the People's Congress, honorable members of Parliament, dear President, other government officials, civil society representatives, Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic corps, civil society representatives, distinguished guests and members of the media, I join my co-chairs, Dr. Emmanuel Gaima of the government of Sierra Leone, and the UN resident coordinator, Ms. Seraphine Wakana, representing development partners, and my dear colleagues on the tripartite committee, to warmly welcome you all to this maiden press briefing of the Cross-Party Committee on Electoral Systems and Management Bodies Review, which we call the Tripartite Committee. Family. As we all are aware, the June 24, 2023 elections will be end in a controversy and a standoff between the All People's Congress and government of Sierra Leone. The APC and many people believe say transparency not been there in the electoral process, in particular the Italian process. The deliberate refusal of the ECSL for publish the data, the results, we will help people and for examine the results, not go down well with the APC, many civil society groups, citizens of this country, and other institutions across the world. Because of this intransigence, because of this decision, where the ECSL take not for published results, after where many people, especially the APC, believe say irregularities will take place. Among many considerations, the APC decide not for participate in governance, especially in parliament and councils across the country. I'm sure we all be aware of that. Now, we start off as a result of that, we get the international community will be so worried and concerned that they step in. Along with the bodies over there, we partners over there, the diplomatic community over there, we get the Commonwealth, Secretariat, ECOWAS, and the National Peace Commission I have been come for mediate the dialogue between the APC and government. And we all recall that's been taking place in Pintumani from the 16th to the 18th of October 2023. That dialogue will be end with an agreement we all refer to as the Agreement for National Unity. That agreement for national unity had 8 resolutions. But we all now know that we, the Tripartite Committee, responsible for Resolution 3 alone. Waiting now this Resolution 3, I'm sure we all know, Mr. Minister don't make reference to them. But for me, I reiterate, we mandate here twofold. One, now for review, the 2023 elections, where the APC not really been pleased with and continue not for pleased with. And two, for me, we take a look at previous elections. In the process, we get for look at the contentious issues. We get for the collation of results. We get for good verification. We get for do with how they publish electoral results. Whether how they do things in with electoral management is consistent with international best practice. And if you're not consistent, waiting the committee will recommend so that tomorrow future elections will be free, will be fair, will be credible, will be transparent. We all know, as Mr. Minister said, the cross-party gets three-way leadership where they are, and will get equal representation at the committee that now government and we 7-7, Mr. Minister don't show them, and we sister where they are, Seraphine Wakana, they represent development partners as the co-chair. We start with work as Madam Seraphine said on the 19th of December. It meant we not get plenty time again, not to 6 months again. So therefore double effort. But today, we are a transparent body. We believe anything we do get for Canada public domain. We get for take Sierra Leone along. We get for take partners along. So we not only sign the terms of reference today, but they show a little bit how far we don't go and which are waiting contain these terms of reference. But for sure now the work we don't do, not only will not develop the terms of reference and now explain to family and where they found and why for say the terms of reference now the document where they guide the work of this committee, what we will do and how for do. In addition to that, we don't develop rules of proceedings, how therefore conduct meetings. We don't also develop a communication framework. We therefore take the people of Sierra Leone along. It's a transparent process. Anything where they happen, therefore be open for everybody for see. We don't hide anything. So we don't develop that. What we don't also develop a delivery framework. This delivery framework, they guide me. The nitty-gritty is how we work, for example, with the experts that will get for bring on board. This one therefore show timelines how to work. We'll get reset, deadlines will be set for ensure that we work within the time. And we'll also formulate a secretariat structure who will bring on board experts, for example, experts who are responsible for electoral laws or look at laws, experts who are responsible for elections management, and experts who are responsible for institutional reform. Because we think to say some of the institutions that we get for elections need some changes for me. But how will the chair found them? Government they under, APC they under. Now being tough one. We go to scatter force. Halala can say, way. But we come back. This is in this part. We come back to the issues. Say no, what he talked yesterday, not right. It's our government only. Dr. Marah says that APC no one serve. Well, what about the people of Sierra Leone? So Sister Dela, she was playing that role, for see how we manage things. Well, what is out there for Sierra Leone? How will we achieve that? So one million people that know that the work of the tripartite committee and for serve the interest of the country. Will they grow above individual issues? But not forgetting that the people that will give this responsibility will get for serve and purpose and for swear. We will not forget that. We put the country first. So the family that go on for no, waiting in these terms of reference. We don't talk about until one for no, waiting in how they call and go to. I don't know if I read. So waiting inside this go to. Yes, so let me explain few, so not all. One, and for me, this committee examine the 2023 election results. So the committee therefore examine the 2023 election results. Then we therefore examine previous election results as well. We therefore look at the shipment, tallying, and announcement of elections results. We therefore look at the procedures for certification and publication of results. We also therefore take a look at data migration from the National Civil Registration Authority to how it therefore feed into the ECSL arrangement. Complaints in there about a finally good look at all land lessons and correct what they for correct. Then we also therefore take a look at the report and recommendations of election observer missions. For example, the European Union and the Carter Center. We therefore take a look at all of that for land lessons. So we'll see how the elections go and what we will do for me to best practice. We also therefore take a look at the electoral laws, the Public Elections Act of 2022, and all other laws in the country we therefore do with elections. Question: they're enough? They're manipulatable? Somebody can manipulate them? Gaps ending? What do we will do about these laws? Will there best practice within the region and elsewhere where we learn from? If yes, we'll make further recommendations so that electoral laws will be good and will be excellent and will be in tandem with international best practice. We also therefore take a look at electoral redress mechanisms. There are issues. You file petitions, sometimes take 2-3 years, nothing will happen. We therefore look at that. The timing, they announce a president. Few minutes later, the Chief Justice will administer the vote. Then the following morning, you file a petition to the same Chief Justice. And then you only get limited window for bringing all the evidence for submitting petitions. It makes best practice, lessons they will learn. We'll take a look at what happen in other countries. And then they will get for do. Then we'll also therefore do functional review, take a look at some institutions, ECSL, we'll therefore take a look at their staffing profile, the institutional profile, decision-making profile. Things that we will need for do in their institutions, not just ECSL, but the other one that who believes they get one or two things for do with elections. We'll therefore review them one a day. Family. During the course of the work, maybe we'll get the need for inviting people and for make clarifications, whether in the security sector, whether in ECSL or anyone, for make them explain further how things are made, ask questions, and so that the work of the committee will be wholesome, it will be informed, and recommendations will be good. Then, this committee also get the mandate that during the course of the examination of all of them together, if we found a person, an institution, or a group, say they don't undermine the electoral process of this country, we can make appropriate recommendations to the president. So these are some of the core mandates of this committee. And I want you to know that the findings and recommendations of this particular committee, government and ABC don't make commitment that their recommendations they will be actionable and will be implementable. So the ABC and government don't make that commitment. Today we will sign the terms of reference. But what we don't sign the terms of reference, we found with the Naya and out there for one for more, waiting at the next steps. We will try to work with sister, the co-chair, and with development partners for ensure that we quickly recruit the experts that we need so that we will commence this work. But whilst we do that recruitment, this committee will take the honors for all across the country so that people when they will listen to me today and when need for learn more, will know a lot more about the work. Now, we want to remind ourselves as a committee that we remit na sacred well, and that the expectations of Sierra Leoneans are very high of this committee. We also don't learn that growing concerns in the country about elections, about the value for votes, about the freedom and security for casting vote, and how that vote will be protected when also Sierra Leoneans concerned. That particular job with the Kiwi, we all agree with me, and it's sacred. So because it's sacred, excuse me, we hope therefore for do we utmost, for serve the country, for ensure that recommendations based on the findings. We hope for established facts and for clear doubt around the 2023 elections. We therefore identify weaknesses in overall electoral systems with structures and processes and then make recommendations. Therefore, we will not talk say this committee now one. At this press conference, we leaders and where they are go one for know exactly who they are this committee, what in our commitment, we from the APC. Would they say we will do a judicious job? We'll collaborate with the government side and with development partners for ensure that recommendations are clearly informed by the findings we will get from it. We'll get word for the people of Sierra Leone as well. As a committee, salons have got a responsibility for help this process. And two ways. Will they do the job for the country? Then will not therefore be part of this process and that they will therefore continue for regional. But it goes beyond that. Make I just say this. And very important at this juncture for say this. On behalf of the committee for clear this air about elections to run. I don't think any member there on this committee will sleep. See the room down here. We know the enormity of the job. We know that it's a sacred one. But one law we know also is a professional job in the law not preempt the outcomes. Law not preempt the outcomes. We're not allowing people to do findings. Based on them findings, we make recommendations. Let me not forget that government and the APC don't already make a commitment for implement the recommendations we put forward. So they ask everyone for the patient. They want them where they do room on hungry, where they write or pass or do any kind of thing. With the big una for make una focus on one thing. Listen to what the committee they do. That is why we don't put in place a communication framework for continue for engaging public. We now your mouthpiece, we will talk. So if I will recap on this, I want to say, we no one preempt any outcome. We want to do with job judiciously. We want to do review, do with examinations. Based on we findings, we will then make recommendations. And I want to make una know that everything we do not a secret. Everything we do get for day in the open. We take Sierra Leone along. So make una know say nothing not do for cover. Any findings or recommendations it can be factual. Yeah. I want at this juncture, I don't touch on this timely against Ms. Moore, Mr. Minister, the round up now. You know, we in our opposition. We know we mandate the resolution 3. It don't necessarily touch the other resolutions. But I will not say this Friday, and I want to underscore this today, that some of the resolutions and they suffer, we need to make good on them. Like resolution 4, the release of persons arrested and detained, discontinuation of politically motivated cases, support to resettle internally and externally displaced persons, payment of of backlog emoluments to elected MPs, mayors, chairpersons, and councillors, among others. Even with 4 poor councillors now, till today, they are not taking their seats. You know what they said? Yeah. By the time the committee they don't remove, let me to say most of the resolutions they are on the door. But when continue for back, we self can make your recommendations, the vote will be an overloaded one. So we, the APC, to continue for great indulgence of government. We then good will for collaborating with we under this part of the National Unity Agreement for make we implement some of the resolutions there, so that the public will continue for get confidence and we all will continue for the on the part of the peace and cohesion what we talk about and pray for always. We are sure that our partners are standing by to continue to provide support. And let me therefore close by commending our development partners and the wider international community for supporting this process with the ultimate aim of saving our democracy. We thank the United Nations for supporting our needs and providing coordination. The Commonwealth, the African Union, the European Union, ECOWAS, the UK, the Irish Embassy, the German Embassy, and all of them. And we thank the US for providing $1.5 million to support the process through the USAID implementation window. We want to thank our respective principals, in particular for us on the APC side. We want to thank you. We want to put confidence in we for serving this committee. And we say before God and man, we will not let the committee and we will not let the APC and the country down. We want to say a big thank you to all other party members and every other person in the country, including civil society and Muna, the fourth estate. We want to tell you thank you for our commitment, and we ask please, we will go for accurate reporting. If we get issues, we will ask you. Very soon, within we communication framework, we will know who person, the person will lead communication for this, so that we will interact and put out the right information for the consumption of the public. I want to say thank you to my colleague then. I want to say a big thank you to my brother, Gaima, who can go back and forth. But they say, no matter what, I consult State House. I say, myself, I'm not agree on this. I go to the party. They follow the, I don't consult, yes. Marah, don't consult, no. Well, Lord, we agree. A tough one, the family. Very tough and difficult. We crave indulgence, make una put una confidence in this committee. We will and shall and deliver what you expect of you. One for tell una thank you. Thank you, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very, very much, Dr.Kaifala Marah, co-chair and representative of the All People's Congress Party. Once in a while in history, people may be required to stand up to do the right thing for the country and do the country above self. I think we don't hear statements reflective of the membership of the committee. The spirit, we the people of this country, we need a minute to hold the people, so I talk for them. We want to tell you thank you for your leadership. I just want to say that I began the privilege to attend one committee meeting, and I see quickly the spirit we express, sharp principle disagreement, but in the spirit of harmony and unity, that's when I seek for putting the interests of this country above self. His Excellency President Bureau called for we all will build bridges and not walls. And we pray that this committee will continue in that spirit. Now for now turn to the other co-chair, where they represent the government of Salud, Dr. Emmanuel Gaima. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
their family, their apologies for the voice, because I traveled late, so there's a very bad voice. I want to stand on all the salutation protocols and all the protocols we, the brother Dr.Kaifala Marah established in terms of salutation or greetings, and for the opening. The family announced a good day on the 23rd of June 2023, and 24th of June 2023, Salud number 5 election after the war. I think as a nation, irrespective of the facts they will review, this national tool will celebrate that we won 5 elections after the war. It means as a country, we don't begin to move. Also, the other good news for that election is after 60 plus years of this country, the memories have been well. And the first election now, we, the people of Sierra Leone, we put women inside, we run for ourselves. We partner the help, or the help we, the help go to the other brothers and sisters them, who they run an NGO for do some element of voter education, civic education. So it was some courage that perhaps very late, but it happened, not to alter and for the wrong election in itself. So for congratulate yourself and for tell we partners and thank you, we push we for them be not only responsible, but then we self we take our responsibility to our hands since we see an independent state. Family, we all know say we got that election. The election cycle of 2023, we base on the revised Public Election Act of 2022. Now revised Public Elections Act of 2022, now it's informal. In 2007, 2012, 2018, the European Union filled large number, close to 100 people. They got a long term, they got a long term, they got a short term. Each time they were done the election, they will make what they call elections recommendations. So when President Bioka and it's my humble appointment, it's always say in embarrassed because in the political dialogue meeting, the European Union say we can't spend money by elections, we're going to take the recommendations first. So most of the recommendations of 2007, 2012, 2018 and then inform the Public Elections Act of 2022. So in a way, finally, some form of electoral review may not start. So what we do at this committee, the committee will make reference to that already. We dey deeper now. We go deeper and look at what's in the left. But don't also forget to say, in the lawmaking process, we come out to government, we got a very important arm of government, under the legislation, under parliament. We government take the proposal to the house, it got for go lobby for them to pass. So tell them what the government will put, not to what it will pass, but most of it will pass. So government self will say, it may not have been a very perfect law, because to me and I come in the process. So until they will want to decide for the recommendation, Parliament in its wisdom, like the man say, if you say enough for the day, and I think a friend and brother, Honorable Chairman, the lady at some point they asked me if the Parliament at home. So whatever happened, we still use that Election Act day, plus the PPRC revised legislation. We also use the phenomenal Huey Act, we made for the very first time in this country. We insisted on comfortable small students and meaningful political representation across age in the House. The election results will come out. I speak on behalf of government that the election results were pronounced a win for His Excellency President Julius Marah. And as per Constitution Act No. 6 of 1991, the judiciary carried out one of his separate mandates for the swearing of His Excellency and the assumption of office. That will happen. Immediately after that, the ECSL, and I got no brief for speak on behalf of them, the ECSL will publish some results that Gazette, or publish results that Gazette, for ordinary members of Parliament, Parliament chiefs, members of Parliament, councillors, chairmen, and mayors of Israel. There was an expectation after that, say, all man who win, go either to the council or to parliament. Our brothers and sisters in the World People's Congress issue a statement that they will undertake, quote, non-participation in governance. Having said that, His Excellency the President automatically realizing this can be serious because governance is about inclusivity, it is about participation. But more importantly also, people have voted for people who have been declared winners. They need to take their places in the House. They need to take their places in the Council. So it starts for those of thinking. And that rethinking started in-house first. What do you do? They call members of government at high level. They discuss and realizing there may be need for look at the electoral architecture once more again. But family, all of us say, not only alone, most parts of the world, electoral reform is an ongoing process. You cannot get it at a go all the time, one at a time. So, family will realize, we co-chair Dr. Marah's preference, His Excellency, the President, and the opening of this life of Parliament, it made pronouncement at Parliament. It said it will put together a committee to look at the electoral system in the country. At that time, it will nominate a vice president for chair. But shortly after that, when another state institution, or for comment, if you know the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, what they call Peace Commission for short, they decide for start for engage with Ugoda and sister in an APC. And they inform say, Ugoda and sister in an APC, they want to discuss critical and burning issues pertaining to governance. Well, on the side of government, we believe say the Peace Commission, a product of the London Peace Accord, who believes the Sierra Leone should be proud of because it said before storm, but finally we don't get time. They were allowed to go ahead, and so they facilitate or to get the international mediated dialogue. But I believe say if you don't get some people that we want to call from ECOWAS, the African Union, Congress Secretariat, we several million for that process there. I think I will do most of the talk. And at this point, again, I want to join the brother for this special recognition to the elder brother, male former boss and leader of the APC, Dr. Marah, where he not only did it, but he did it full soul for 3 days, and that gives back the people we're going to say to the agreement. Now, this tripartite agreement, we don't call the agreement for national unity. We go on the Bible. It ties me down the people we're going to say to resolution 3. And important, it don't clarify that, and I don't forget that one. However, when we discuss, the idea was that the All People's Congress, through Dr. Marah, for them nominate to His Excellency the President, people learn from the ABC, and the President will use the nomination for constitute the tripartite committee or the three-way committee. But the President, looking at the nomination and believing, say there is need for more inclusivity and more participation, it decided to approve all the 7 nominees. What they said. So therefore, the people are saying, because they sent 7, instead decided now still nominate 7 on the side of the government. So now so we get a magic number of 7 for the APC and 7 for the SLPP. And now we are going to report the progress we don't make so far. But I want also to say, the government of Sierra Leone firmly believe in this process, and because after the report recommendation will not be presented to the President, and the government will say, or look at the implementation and rolling out, the government will take all the residual functions as part of the effort of government for deepening and strengthening democracy, but also for strengthening democratic and national state institutions. Before I come, I will take leave of them. They tell me, say, this is good, but I continue. Let the committee work so hard so that we're not going to make the same mistake all of the time. I put on that one. So, what is this committee? Co-chairs, I want to permit me to explain. Because in my other life, as presidential governance advisor, I do media monitoring, I realize, say, Mr. Chairman, I realize, say, some newspaper articles, probably because we don't do this yet, probably because of lack of adequate information, they don't make some statements or assertions. And I just want to say, what are the issues around the committee that the committee is or may not be? First and foremost, this committee is a product of political dialogue and political settlement, not a statutory committee, not a commission of inquiry, as it were, because as you say, there are times when we don't get together. The objective of this committee, we are knowing very well, and our permission of the chair, Mr. Minister, I really in English explained today. The fundamental objective of the committee is the enhancement of the credibility of all future elections in Sierra Leone. This is critical so that Sierra Leone will move together with other progressive countries in the international system. So, whatever we do, one key thing for this committee for keep an eye on, in the words of the coach and probably one signpost, is that after we don't lose job, all other elections will kind of salon going forward. We will make sure say whatever challenges we don't experience in the previous 5 elections, those challenges will no longer exist. Again, this committee, like we brother said, it will invite people then to can talk to them, which means therefore this committee not so an investigative body, now a review body. Also, I want to allow to say the mandate of this committee, as at the time it was signed on the 18th of October 2023, is 6 months. So which means for now, until otherwise, maybe the principal negotiators, the elder brother and the boss of Seraphine Wakana and the chief minister as principal negotiators come for discuss. I can continually remind the committee, say, we are in creation of 6 months. Whether we will be aborted now or terminated or allowed for go further, the principal said, whether they send me, they will get for 10 weeks. And whether the end state, so how will terminate? The end state or point of termination will be a report. And that report, it got further recommendations drawn from all what we will find out in the various segments, and most of the things that we brother refer to in the terms of reference. And that report will be submitted to His Excellency the President. And we don't agree, the President, that once it's submitted, it will consult or engage with the APC for now we look at the implementation of the committee again for the good of all of us. Co-chair Dr. Marah talked about the other 7 resolutions. The other 7 resolutions, they fall outside the scope. However, I've wanted to know also in the media that from the government side, we don't receive lots of representation from other political parties, that we are dealing with only one political party and there are 17 registered political parties. The good thing is, in one of the resolutions, I don't know whether resolution 5, resolution 5, there is also provision for inter-party dialogue between the APC, the SLPP, and other political parties. So if there are political party representatives here, I believe say there is an opportunity in that platform also for them to engage at that level and bring the process. And this is important. Why is it important? Because we are talking about future credible non-contested elections. And these are political parties also will equally participate in those elections. So it's just was logical and ethical that they also become part of that. I want to conclude for saying, His Excellency the President has been approached, and rightfully so, that because this committee now about Sierra Leone, now about the people of Sierra Leone, and about the government of Sierra Leone, the government of Sierra Leone is bound for investment money. So it not committee, let Chief Minister do the necessary paperwork within government for mandata within the laws for them to put money into running and operations of this committee. So that it not only become our partners supporting the committee, but it become a committee supported by the government of Sierra Leone and its partners. Co-chair, I want to end for saying, the review and the report and the recommendations from this committee, it will be very timely for the work of government. Because the big 5 game changers will put inside the Middle International Development Plan. We go to Pillar 4. That Pillar 4, we talk about revamping the public service. And if we revamp the public service, ECSL and all the other election management bodies will go down review, they belong to the public service. So part of the work is being done on the side, and it will fit into that way. And I think say that process itself will feed on that. finally, on this note, what the President also tell me that I've informed the committee and all of us, and co-chairs, and we'll be going out of Sierra Leone saying, as the President of the Republic is committed to the process, and he will support this process to a logical conclusion. And final bit of it from me is the fact that the President of Marah said, Lord not preempts the recommendations, but as we see, consistent with our mandates, we're not getting nothing whether that the mandate say, Lord will discuss about when the next election will be held. Until such time when it comes up, and by the laws of this country, the next election, as reports to the Minister of Information and Civic Education, are due sometime in 2023. Thank you very much, and I want to thank the partners, civil society, colleagues from the APC, the media, and all Sierra Leoneans out there for their patience, for their courage, for their understanding, for allowing governments, for working with the APC, for putting this committee together, and I believe again, join the co-chairs, particularly my brother Dr.Kaifala Marah, Lord, show patience and tolerance and accompany this process so that we do it for make Sierra Leone better, stronger, credible, and part of the international civilized world. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Co-Chair, and thank you for pledging the support of the government of Sierra Leone. I can also say that I know, His Excellency President Julius Malabio followed this process very keenly, and he fully committed, the government fully committed. In fact, today's press conference, normally we do weekly press conference, we set aside and say we give this platform and partner with the committee. And part of that commitment, they say we take this obviously at the highest level. I want to take this opportunity as well for acknowledge, say we get the Deputy Mayor of the city, Idinaya, Your Worship, Mr. Kwekulis, ASQ, the chairperson of the All People's Congress Party. If I told you the history I gave it, Uncle Mikhail, I don't understand. But I want to say you're welcome, acknowledge your presence. I want to acknowledge the chairperson of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party. I see it coming very quietly at some point. A very distinguished, Honorable Dr. Prince Halik there. And the colleagues in cabinet, many of them there, the Honorable Minister Makalon, I see the Honorable Minister of Local Government, I see the Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Deputy Minister of Higher Education, and other VIPs. Now, we're going to reach the high point. I want to invite the call themselves the fan. Now we know the works of this committee are not small because I don't attend the meeting. The Honorable Alpha Sise and the Honorable Dr. Richard Conte, they call themselves Sise Conte fan. And they will do the work really closely together. I want to put your hands together for them to very fine statement. So we can do the official signing. So I come on this side. We'll do the official signing. So then we lead the process. The three co-chairs have sign and initial every single document based on what you explained to Minaya. And we see the two results of collaboration and patriotism. Over what we will say, yes, difficult, contentious issues, but we will, as Sierra Leoneans, for put aside other interests, so we lift Salou above all else. So now we witness the official signing. Honorable Alpha said, we'll get some press people in so you can be on the side, so we'll say exactly. Exactly, so you said we inside the frame. So we get a chance that this will come for. And they sign, they don't miss no paper, they don't miss no page, and they sign and initial every single page. So, we are all now the witness, the people of Salou, they watch this. Now, the witness, We are live on every single major media house that is concerned. I will tell thank you to the media partners. And tell thank you to particularly the community radio stations that we carry live and every single corner of Salon today. And then we see what's going on in Naya today in the work of this committee. I want to remind the members of the fourth estate or other citizens that will get a question that as usual, we get an online platform, the QR code on the advert we put out. If you get a question, if you get more than one question, send the question on the online platform. And I will get an IR and I will ask her. If you get questions, because we're not going to call them all man we get question IR now. But I encourage you, say if you get questions, go online, commitments will get to ask 100% of the questions that I ask. Anybody send a question, as long as you don't insult, you know, go completely out of line, be respectful when you ask that question. So, if you know here, after the signing, I can open up for questions. But for Una, we know that can't to the press conference to make a tell you and tell the rules. Today, we have 3 superstars and 3 superstars alone. We are the co-chair. Nobody really uses this platform for latent celebrity. We have to celebrity and create you. Yeah, you ask question. Straight up, you ask the question, we give you the mic, then we collect, we get the answer, the co-chair will answer to the questions in a very peaceful manner. So we avoid long preface. We already know the preface, and I mean not this speech there, they don't tell me all the background. You point out for seek clarification and ask quick question. So we can't do that after we conclude with the signing.